The gallows stood at the center of Dry Creek, like a dark wooden skeleton, its shadow stretching across the dust as if hungry for another soul. People gathered in tight circles, whispering, pointing, judging. Rumors traveled faster than the wind out here, especially when the accused was a young woman. Clara Wynne stood with her wrists bound, face pale but chin lifted. Her dress was torn at the sleeve, her hair wind-blown, but her eyes, stormy, defiant, never lowered. She had been accused of murder. The sheriff claimed she shot a ranch hand behind the saloon. But Clara had insisted again and again. She didn't do it. No one listened. Except one man, Levi Grant. The widowed cowboy stood near the edge of the crowd, hat low, jaw tight. He rarely spoke anymore since losing his wife 2 winters ago. Pain made him quiet, made him distant. But something in Clara's eyes, fear mixed with fierce innocence, struck a chord so deep it rattled the walls around his heart. The sheriff stepped forward, reading her sentence with cold, practiced authority. Clara Wynne, by order of Dry Creek law, you are to be hanged at sundown for the killing of James Reddick. Clara's breath hitched, but she didn't cry. I didn't shoot him, she whispered to no one, or maybe to the only one who believed her. Levi clenched his fists. He knew James Reddick, drunk, violent, cruel. Half the town knew it, but no one dared say it aloud. Sheriff, Clara pleaded, voice cracking, please, at least hear me. I was only— Enough. The sheriff waved her off. You were at the scene, the gun was beside you, and Reddick was dead. Case closed. Levi stepped forward before he could stop himself. That don't make her guilty. The crowd turned. Clara's eyes widened with desperate hope. The sheriff narrowed his gaze. Levi, this ain't your concern. But Levi's boots kept moving, slow and steady, until he stood between Clara and the lawman. It is now, he said. You're hurrying to hang a woman without proving a damn thing. She confessed, the sheriff snapped. I didn't, Clara cried. Levi turned to her, voice gentle. Tell me what happened. She swallowed hard. I heard shouting behind the saloon. When I went to look, James was already on the ground. I knelt beside him, and someone yelled that I shot him. I never touched the gun, I swear. Her voice shook with truth so raw it made Levi's chest ache. The sheriff scoffed. She's lying. The town wants justice, and that's what they'll get. Levi's body tensed. The people of Dry Creek whispered, uneasy. Levi had never stood up for anyone since losing his wife. Now he looked like a man willing to burn the town to ash if they touched the girl. The sheriff moved closer to Clara, rope in hand. Prepare her. Levi exhaled slowly. Then he said the words that froze the entire town. I'll take her place. Gasps erupted. The sheriff's jaw dropped. Clara stared as if she'd been struck. Levi, she whispered, voice trembling. Why would you do that? But Levi only looked into her eyes, seeing the truth everyone else had chosen to ignore. Because you don't deserve to die, he said, and I ain't letting you. Silence swallowed Dry Creek whole. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath after Levi's declaration. The sheriff's face twisted with disbelief. Levi, don't be a fool. This girl's been sentenced. The law doesn't trade lives. Law didn't do much investigating. Levi shot back. Maybe it's time someone did. Your wife is gone, the sheriff growled. You're grieving, but don't throw your life away for a stranger. Levi stepped closer, voice low and steady. My wife's death taught me plenty. Like what it's like to lose someone innocent. I ain't letting it happen again. Clara's lips parted, trembling. She'd expected cruelty, judgment, maybe pity, but not a cowboy willing to die for her. Please, she whispered, tugging at her bindings. Don't do this. You don't even know me. He looked back at her with quiet intensity. I know enough. The sheriff rubbed his temples, frustrated. You can't just take her sentence. Then reopen the case, Levi demanded. Give her a fair chance. That's not how the law works, the sheriff barked. That's exactly how it should work, Levi replied. A murmur rippled through the crowd. A few townsfolk shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded. They'd seen Reddick drunk. They'd seen him violent. They just never had the guts to admit it. Someone spoke from the back. Sheriff, maybe the cowboy's right. Another voice chimed in. Give her a trial, proper-like. The sheriff's jaw pulsed. He hated losing control. This town's getting soft, he growled. Fine, we'll question her again. He dragged Clara toward the jail. Levi followed, refusing to leave her side. Inside the dimly lit cell room, the sheriff threw her into a chair and began his interrogation. Loud, aggressive, intimidating. But Clara answered every question steadily, tears streaking her cheeks, but truth unwavering. Levi stood behind her, arms crossed, glaring at the sheriff each time he raised his voice. When she finished, Levi knelt beside her chair. You told the truth. That's all that matters. Clara's breath hitched. No one has ever believed me like that. Levi swallowed hard. Maybe they should have. Before he could say more, a deputy burst through the door. Sheriff, we found something behind the saloon. They rushed outside. There, half buried behind the saloon, was a second gun. Clean, polished, not Clara's. And beside it, a familiar boot print. The sheriff paled. That's Reddick's friend, Levi said. Tom Greeley. They were drinking together last night. Clara's eyes widened with horror. He shot him and blamed me. But before they could celebrate the discovery, a voice echoed from behind them. Too late, cowboy. Tom Greeley stood there, gun drawn, eyes wild. Clara gasped. Levi stepped in front of her instantly. You killed Reddick, Levi said calmly. Why? Greeley sneered. A gambling debt. He threatened to tell, and she... His gaze snapped to Clara. She showed up at the wrong time. You framed her to save yourself, Levi growled. Well, now I'll kill both of you. Greeley cocked his gun, and in that split second, Levi moved, not away, but toward Clara, shielding her completely, like a man who'd already chosen whom he'd die for. The gunshot split the air like lightning. Clara screamed. Levi stumbled, knees buckling. But when she grabbed him, there was no blood, no wound. The bullet had hit the wooden beam behind them. Because the sheriff, for once doing something right, had fired first. Tom Greeley fell to the ground with a cry of pain, clutching his wounded shoulder. Deputies rushed in, disarming him while the sheriff glared down. You're under arrest for murder and attempted murder, he growled. Clara sagged with relief, covering her face with shaking hands. Levi steadied her, his hands gentle on her arms. It's over, he said softly. But Clara looked at him with eyes filled not with relief, but with guilt. You nearly died for me, she whispered. Why? This time Levi didn't look away. Because when you're alone long enough, you forget what it feels like to protect someone, to care. His voice cracked. When I lost my wife, I shut the world out. But then I saw you, terrified, accused, standing alone. And something in me just woke up. Clara's breath trembled. No one has ever cared for me like that. You deserve to be cared for, he murmured. Before more could be said, the sheriff approached. His hat was in his hands, a rare sign of humility. Miss Wynne, he said, you're cleared of all charges. You're free to go." Clara nodded numbly. "And—" The sheriff turned to Levi. "You were right. I rushed the judgment. Could have killed an innocent woman." Levi said nothing. He only tightened his gentle hold on Clara. When the sheriff left, Clara looked around the empty street, uncertainty sinking into her bones. "Free to go," she repeated softly. "But where? My family's gone. I have nothing." Levi took a slow breath, a breath of decision. "You got someplace," he said, "if you want." Her heart thudded. "Where?" she whispered. "With me." Clara blinked hard. "Levi, you don't even—" "I know enough," he said again. "I know you're stronger than anyone here gave you credit for. I know you're kind, even after life's tried to break you. I know you deserve a second chance." A tear slid down her cheek. "And you?" Levi swallowed, voice turning quiet, honest. "I think I do too." Clara stepped closer. "You saved my life." "You saved mine," he answered softly. "Pulled me out of a grief I didn't think I'd ever climb out of." Their hands met, hers small and trembling, his rough and steady. "Clara," he said, "come with me. Not because you owe me anything, but because no one should have to face life alone." Clara lifted her tear-filled eyes to meet his. "I'd like that," she whispered. Levi exhaled, relief washing through him like warm sunlight after a long winter. He placed his hat gently onto her head. "Then let's go home." And together, the widowed cowboy who stepped in front of the noose and the young woman who survived the gallows walked into a future that neither expected, but both desperately needed.